Here we are.
Welcome back.
Episode 15.
1-5.
It's crazy.
Uno cinco.
It's crazy that we're at episode 15 already.
Yeah, listen, it's an achievement every week right now.
It's awesome. It
Yeah.
really is. It's awesome. So today, if you guys don't know, we are Jamie and Scott, the Crazy Hockey Dads.
What's up?
We are at episode 15, 3 months in now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think our 3-month anniversary was like 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah, was it?
90 days in.
Sweet.
15 episodes. Doing nicely. And I guess we could do this now, right?
What?
So we're going to talk about, today we're going to talk about whether to push your kid and the ramifications of it, the positives of it. But that's what we're going to discuss today. To or to not push your child.
Yep.
Right? I mean, so that...
A lot of variables and a lot of meat and potatoes there, but we'll dig into it.
Yes, definitely. But in the meantime, just a little housekeeping stuff.
Again, shout out the countries, dude.
But that's what I'm going to do. And thank you for everybody for subscribing and downloading and listening. We have had a lot happen since 7 days ago, which is wild to me. You know, we were stuck on 6 Canadian provinces for a long time. We just added Nova Scotia for number 7.
Yep.
We just added Oslo, Norway.
Let's go.
Welcome to our...
I've been there.
Have you?
Gorgeous.
Probably a lot of good hockey there. I would think.
Of the Scandinavian countries, I don't think Norway. I mean, Sweden and Finland are the top dogs.
Yes, that does not surprise me.
You know
but I would still think there's good hockey in Norway. No.
Oh, I'm sure there's good hockey. I'm just saying
right?
that it's not as good as Finland and Norway.
I get that.
But I was in before. Side note: before I went to
Finland and Sweden, you mean?
Finland. What did I say? Norway.
Yeah. Because we were talking about.
Before I went to Norway,
right?
I went to Copenhagen,
right?
And while I was there in Denmark, I took a.
Did you do any dip?
Doing what? Dip?
Copenhagen.
Oh, dip. No, oh my God, that's like high school. That's so sick.
I was just gonna say it's
shit's gross.
So dated. Oh yeah,
shit is so gross.
Disgusting.
But so now we're just jumping all over the place.
Yes,
and we'll bring it back real quick.
But
all these kids,
so gross.
I play men's with a bunch of kids that like Zin.
I was gonna say they do those little dip packs. The Zins.
But like, what the
also
fuck?
gross.
I've never tried it, but like
lip cancer.
I don't know.
Gum cancer. Here I come.
It's not like
probably not a good move.
Yeah, it's just very. It feels child friendly.
You
know what I mean? Like,
are kids doing it?
Well, define kid.
Teenager.
I'm sure.
You think so? Well, yeah, you're probably right about that.
I mean,
well, I'm talking like high school.
Yeah, listen, if they're like U10s doing smelling salts, then there's probably U12s doing Zin.
We are going to dip into that smelling salts.
Crazy.
Sometime this summer.
Yeah,
that smelling salts conversation is coming.
It's
people.
coming.
That episode is coming.
It's definitely coming.
Yes, and we will get that. Is going to be a very hot button topic. I'm very interested in talking about that.
Okay, so bringing it back. So the Copenhagen dip versus Zin. Zin is like child friendly in my opinion.
Well, because it's packaged. It's in like a little thing, and it's less messy.
But they had like Bandits, which was like packaged pouches of tobacco.
I never did.
But it still tasted fair. Yeah, but it still tasted like tobacco.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it tastes delicious.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to Copenhagen, Denmark, I went to fucking a game. I went to like a. I guess was it their
European?
Like it was like a whatever the Denmark league is. Okay. I went out and I caught a game. I was
probably
out there
pretty
by
good
myself.
hockey, no?
Yeah, it was good. It was fucking out there. I waited for a train in forever to get back to Copenhagen. It was like out there, but glad I went. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Like unlike the States or Canada, the professionals it's like going to watch a high school game. Not meaning that like, you know, the
I know
professionals,
what you mean.
they're just like, you know, they're walking like next to you.
They're regular dudes.
It's definitely a much more regular thing. But it was cool for me to go check out a different like hockey scene.
No, that is cool. I could see how that would be neat. That was a cool idea.
Yeah, I should look up to see.
Nice looking rinks.
Remember, you know, I was only at one. It was fine. It was
cool looking rink.
It was small. Like the one that I went to was small. It wasn't like going
like 5,000 people small or like.
Oh, dude, I was like in bleachers.
Oh, so we're talking like youth hockey-ish type.
Ish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising.
And I should probably double check the level, the league that I went to.
Was it
I don't know if it was the top league.
They're pro.
I'd have to refresh my memory.
Yeah, do a little research.
I don't think I was going to like an amateur game in Copenhagen, or outside of Copenhagen, wherever the fuck I went. Anyway, so
that's
what
cool.
are we talking? So countries. So
we're talking about Norway. Yeah,
Norway.
Norway. So we're loading
France?
up on France. Two spots. Wow.
Let's hear your. Let's hear your.
I don't want to butcher this.
Parlez-vous français?
So it's Provence,
Ooh.
France,
Ooh.
right? Which I did a little research. I looked this up. It's the south of France. It is. I'm serious.
I know Provence is the south of France.
Did you not know that?
No, I did know that.
Well, excuse me. I know you're the European traveler.
Well,
I just hang out here in the United States.
I cooked French food.
That is true. That is true.
For many a year.
And listen, do not think that I did not run this through an AI chatbot on how to pronounce these things.
Well, that was.
And
good.
I was still.
Wait, so let's hear it again.
What's Provence, right?
Provence.
Yeah,
okay, what's the other one?
So the other one. So the other one is.
That's a tough one,
it's
Lloyd.
Ile-de-France.
Ile de France.
Again, and they put it phonetically for me.
Yeah.
And I heard it. So like,
wow, you got a 1-2 punch.
I did a little homework here. Yeah, because
fucking ace.
All of a sudden, like 2 spots in France popped up on our from downloads.
Let's fucking go.
I don't know what is the deal with the and again we went to the Far East again. We're in Taipei, Taiwan, and we just added Tokyo, Japan.
Let's go, Ohio.
Hockey in Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess.
Yeah, we had
right. I mean,
not Japan, but one of Otto's teammates,
crazy,
like 2 years ago, mother's Korean, took their son to Korea, and for an extended period of time, like the whole summer, like I think he left school early, like in April, and then he was in Korea for months.
Family members and stuff like that over there.
Yeah. And immersed in Korean culture.
Right.
And he did like hockey clinics and played on a team out there in South Korea. I don't know where exactly. I'm assuming.
I wonder how the hockey is out there.
But
is hockey big? I mean, here. So
define big though.
So all right. So we're getting a lot of downloads from the Netherlands and the UK as well. So like, is hockey big? Netherlands, UK, France, Turkey, Taiwan, Japan. I mean, and Puerto Rico. I mean, hockey big in those areas?
Listen, I
mean, listen, Norway, yes.
Yeah, England too. Easy. England too. We talked about that.
We talked about it. Yes. I know somebody who actually played like semi or pro. It's considered pro.
English pro
in England.
Yeah. No doubt.
But like Taiwan, Japan,
I can wrap my head around for sure.
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
You know what the Japanese I feel like are always good in the Olympics when the speed skating.
I think that's true. By the way,
skating is definitely
skating is a thing.
Part of Japanese sport.
You're right, and I think the Chinese are always good at like ice dancing. That type of stuff.
How much ice dancing you watching, bro?
None. But during the winter. Well, during the winter, I watched the Winter Olympics.
Fair.
So I mean, they always seem to be doing well in all the ice sports.
In ice dancing.
I mean, you know what I mean, like. I don't
watch
I totally
get it.
Like, what's the movie called? Blades of Glory? Blades of...
There's a few. Blades of Steel?
Blades of Steel is a video game.
Oh, Blades of Steel was a video game.
Blades of Steel was the video game from Nintendo back in the day when we were kids.
I'm dating myself.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Remember?
But Blades of Glory was, I want to say, was with Will Ferrell?
No, I think
no, I'm wrong.
No?
No,
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller, right.
Ben Stiller.
And then what was the other one where the ex-hockey player started...
Topic.
Right.
Topic.
What was the oh God, there's a movie back in the day where the hockey player gets hurt.
Yeah, Topic. His vision.
But what was the name of the movie? Was that wasn't Blades of Glory? Blades of Glory was with Ben Stiller.
Fuck, how am I not remembering this? I watched that movie like a gazillion times.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember what it was called.
Topic.
Topic. Oh my God.
And the opening scene is him playing like in like the Olympics or whatever. What is it called?
Cutting Edge.
Cutting Edge.
Yeah. Listen, the best hockey movie of all time still is Miracle.
Yeah.
What
about fucking
Mr. Alaska?
No.
Oh, Slapshot.
Well, that's comedy. Why? My mind is. What's the one with Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves?
Youngblood. A movie.
That man is fucking an animal.
A movie I've yet to show Dominic, by the way.
Because of like age of. Because of content?
It's funny. We were kind of thumbing through.
That man is fucking an animal.
It's a great movie. What was the guy's name who said that?
I think that was Keanu Reeves. He was a goalie. And they were
like, they're
at the bar getting drunk.
Yes. Oh my God, I forgot he was in that movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, the
Swayze
Mustangs.
was in that.
Racky
was the bad guy. Yeah. So it's funny. All right, so it's funny you mention that because Dominic wants to watch Slapshot and Youngblood. I have not let him watch either one of them yet. Last night, we're thumbing through Netflix.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, let's watch a movie. Right? So I put Slapshot on. Yeah. He's like, Dad, Slapshot. I happen to scroll by under comedy.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, let's watch something funny, Dom. So I happen to scroll through it on comedy, and he goes, Dad, let's watch it. I put the first 5 minutes on. I'm like, we can't watch this. I'm like, this is not appropriate.
Totally get it.
I'm like, we cannot watch this. I'm trying to think of what the guy said, but I was like,
No. We're going to pass.
I think Youngblood probably is on the appropriate scale.
He was banging that chick.
True, but would have been better than Slapshot.
It could be.
I'm pretty sure that if I put Youngblood on, in the first 5 minutes, I would have not had to shut it off so quickly, like I did with Slapshot.
You know, in Youngblood, they play in that rink that's got like a chain link fence.
Yeah, that place was wild, man.
Dude, I played in a rink with chain link fence. Also,
where?
Like in Connecticut, Katona. I played in a spring.
Is it still there?
I have no idea, but I remember.
So long when you were a kid.
When I was a kid, yeah. 90s.
So they didn't have boards; they had chain link fence.
No, they had boards, and then it had chain link fence above instead of like plexiglass.
Stop it.
Or glass, and the boards might as well have been fucking poured cement. They were so goddamn hard, you'd murder. Like you could murder people there.
Did it double as a roller hockey in the off season?
It could be.
It sure sounds like it with the chain link fence.
It was springtime, it was
ice.
Penguins and eagles and Eskimos and ice.
Penguins, igloos, Eskimos and ice.
Ice.
What a great movie. Fine, drive and push it down some ice.
Listen to you. You're French and you're German today. You're like a
world traveler.
Fucking something.
Meanwhile, going on vacation tomorrow and not going anywhere overseas. Nowhere.
Do you know how to speak West Virginian? You know what that made me think of?
I mean, I think as long as I have my banjo, I'll be good to go. I'll just sling it over my shoulder and they'll be like, oh, he's local.
It's like Deliverance.
I'm going to be like a fish out of water.
You seen Deliverance?
Long time ago, yes.
You know, like
the banjo scene's sick, by the way. The banjo scene is sick. That is a sick banjo scene. No doubt. It's an awesome scene. That's a great,
freaky movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't Burt Reynolds in that?
I think so.
Right?
So was John Voight.
When they were young, man. Super young.
John Voight.
I mean, really ridiculously young.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, I wonder if anybody knows some of the lines that we just quoted, like penguins, Eskimos, igloos, and ice.
R.I.P. John Candy.
Sanka. You did? Sanka, you did? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So good.
God, somebody again, if you know what movie that is, hit us up on Instagram. We'll do something for you.
No doubt.
All right. So we're in all these cool places, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we're popping up in all these spots, which is wild to me. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Scott. I never expected. Listen, we're very heavy in the United States. We're heavy in Canada. But we're starting to pop up all over which is crazy. Like the map that we have on our podcast distribution, site is
it's lighting up.
Which is cool.
Yeah, keep it up. Anyone that's been sharing the show, or whatever, please keep it up.
Yeah, keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep listening. Thank you to all the people that are listening, all the new people that are popping up. We hope you enjoy the content.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep going because we think it adds value, and we actually have a lot of fun doing this.
100%.
You know, so we have so much fun doing this that we just ordered a mic that is going to be delivered to my hotel in a couple of days, so we could do this on the road when I'm away.
Road show.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It will be fun.
So Scott's gonna be the genius behind it.
Figure it out.
He's gonna figure out how to do that. So the next one's gonna be the 4th of July episode, which I am looking forward to.
Yes,
you are awesome episode.
The patriot of the group.
It's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a cool episode. So everybody stay tuned. This is 15. 16 is gonna be the 4th of July episode. It's gonna be awesome. We're talking about some cool things like USA Hockey.
Fucking great.
Up, right? They're starting. Some of the rosters are starting to come out, or they're starting to kind of take shape.
Yep.
Right. They announced the first 6 for every country. So stay tuned. That's gonna be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So that takes care of some housekeeping. Keep sharing the show. We really appreciate everybody that's listening and subscribing. We have a new, I guess you could say, partner, right? Business partner. You know, we have a new partnership.
Business
partnership. We have a good partnership. We have a new partnership that we wanted to tell you guys about. We recently partnered with Howie's Hockey.
That's it.
So for those of you who don't know Howie's Hockey, which I can't imagine how you wouldn't know, because if you walk into any pro shop, you'll see their logo. I mean, this is their logo for any of you that don't know. Literally, this is their logo. It's one of the coolest logos, in my opinion, that's out there.
It's great.
It's awesome.
It's fucking great.
I mean, I bought this years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think they sell it anymore, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have a bobblehead, but I don't think they sell this anymore.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, what was that? It was an ornament.
It was a Christmas ornament. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And I hung him from the mic. You know,
interesting.
Just because he's awesome. You know. So yeah. So Howie's hockey. It started with obviously hockey tape.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that? I don't know the.
I'm pretty sure they started.
Yeah.
You know, you'd think I should have looked up the history, but I'm pretty sure they started with hockey tape.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think that they branched down to a bunch of things. So if you go on their website,
wax,
and their wax
bag.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Right. The wax is awesome. I have a the tape bag.
Yep.
I have their scissors.
Yep. Same.
The shears are awesome.
Yep.
In my opinion, some of the best normal scissors, like for whoever don't cut hockey tape well, those shears
are great
with the yellow tips are awesome.
Yep.
What else? The wax is great. Dominic always tries to slather it on his
Otto
stick.
started using the wax, the stickier wax that's in the light blue.
They have two different types of waxes.
So
Correct.
he would always use the yellow tin, and now he uses the light blue tin, which is definitely stickier.
Yeah, well, they all wanted the Michigan these days.
I know.
So they all lather up their. Dude, people dive into Dominic's hockey bag to grab his wax.
No shit.
Dom leaves the locker room, and they all dive into his bag for the wax.
Why? They can't get their own wax?
Apparently not.
Well, whatever.
Because he has a bunch of it.
Good.
Yeah. And the wax smells phenomenal. Howie's hockey wax smells phenomenal.
It is good.
So much. They actually made a candle out of it, which is also awesome. Again,
I need to get that.
Smells
I need a candle.
Again, smells phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that for my wife for her birthday.
Smells phenomenal. The tape bag. I've had the tape bag.
Tape bag?
I've had multiple tape bags. I've gone through multiple tape bags. And you know what else I have?
What?
That I haven't. A lot of people. Shockingly, a lot of people on my team do not carry multiple sets of steel blades. So I have the Howie's Hockey blade steel holder.
Oh.
So it carries two sets of steel.
Yeah.
So can I just tell you, I don't know if it's a AAA thing versus a Tier 2 thing, but in AAA hockey, our entire team had multiple sets of steel. Every kid had at least two sets of blades.
Yeah.
Right? So if you banged your blade up during the game, the coach yelled to the bleachers, and the dad came running with the other set of steel. They changed it on the bench, and the kid went back in.
Yeah, it's interesting
Dom's
that
new
there was such a difference.
Dom's new team, nobody else changes their steel.
Huh.
Dom's the only one who has.
Well, when you say changes it, you mean like no one else has a second set?
Nobody else carries a second set.
Huh.
I don't know why.
But forget like the mindset thing, or even like
I don't know, Scott.
Being like quote unquote all in. It's practical.
I would think so.
I mean, you can just.
Do you know how many times I've changed his blades right before a game just because I don't have time to sharpen the other one?
Right, it's just practical.
I literally, he still has a hard time unsnapping because it takes a bit of muscle
strength
to pull the blade,
grip strength,
to pull it out of the toques, right?
Yeah.
So I'll help him change them, but I'm the only one that has two sets of steel on Dom's new team. So I don't know if it's a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 thing, but I don't know if it either hasn't carried over or filtered down, or the fact that when we were all AAA parents, we were all nuts. I don't know what the answer is.
I can imagine the like what you were just saying, just being all in, right? The idea of being all in, like from gear to commitment to lessons.
Yeah.
But that is putting that aside. Having a second set of steel just seems to be that's practical.
I would think so, right? No, so
it's like having a second stick.
So I'm curious. In
case something gets messed up during a game, right. Now you have the opportunity to change them out.
So they do carry two sticks, right? But they do not carry two sets of blades. So I'm curious. Right. Last year, Otto played AAA because Dom played Tier 2 last year. Did every parent, for the most part, have another set of blades?
Off the top of my head, I don't recall, but there were plenty of. I mean, I can visualize families like replacing blades, like people, like parents in the locker room, like that was for sure.
So I did not witness it once this year, and I had conversations with people about it.
And like you were enlightening them, like, hey, this is a thing. Well, or like they just weren't interested in having them. Like they knew that their kids' skates could.
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. But like I remember saying to people, like, you don't carry two sets of steel, and they're like, no, why? I'm like, never mind.
It's definitely practical. And you know what else was interesting about last year? And the coach last year on Otto's team, he actually had like one of the heavy duty like real deal skate sharpening machines in his garage. I think the brand is like Wissossoka.
Oh, he's got like the real machine.
Like the fucking
the
real
red
one.
one.
Not the Sparks.
The red one.
The real one.
The real machine.
So he would sharpen kids'
dude.
skates regularly. And then over down in the other rink, there was no pro shop in the rink. There was a hockey monkey, sports monkey, whatever monkey.
That's right. There's no pro shop.
That's like down the road.
It's not far. Yeah.
No, it's not far.
No, it's a couple blocks away.
If you don't live in the neighborhood, which we didn't, we were never getting there early enough to sharpen his skates.
And that place is not easy to get to. You have to kind of do like a bunch of loops.
You have to loop a few different, like a highway
to get there.
Yeah.
Look,
it's not hard, but the point was for us last year, it was super helpful because we were never in a position.
Having multiple sets of steel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's strange, right? But that's so this year when Otto starts playing tier 2, let me know if you notice blade steel.
I will pay attention. And you know what's interesting is we've talked about things during the podcast and even like before or after the show. Your stories when I reflect on my time, like when youth sports, I as a coach, because I coached Otto last year was the first year I didn't coach,
right?
And even still, I mean, like I did video review for the team, like
right, and
I was on the bench whenever one of our coaches couldn't be there.
Right.
And so I was for the first half of the season, 3 quarters, I was on the bench against enough.
Yeah, a
decent amount. So I wouldn't say I didn't coach last season. I never did practices, but more to the point was like, some of these like maybe pre-game rituals or some of like the camaraderie amongst the parents,
You missed.
And
because you were busy doing coaching stuff.
And I don't know like to what end parents were really like hanging out like before the game or whatever, because you were even sharing stories about like tailgating and blah blah blah. I don't think any of Otto's teams really had a culture of like hanging out.
So that might be again a tier 1 and tier 2 thing, because when we were tier 1, we hung out in the parking lot
like hardcore.
I'm talking people were bringing grills and charcoal.
No, we never did any
and
of that.
Like Yeti coolers and like there were drinks at the back of everybody's truck. And then tier 2 this year, no, crickets.
But I'll tell you from my experience.
So again, when you start, I'm just curious.
But I'm saying.
But you won't know.
No,
because you were coaching.
But look, I would know if there was like tailgating happening with like barbecues and grills, like pre and post game, and I'm pretty sure that Otto's has not been on a team where that was part of the culture. As a tier 1, playing AAA.
So tier 1, I remember we were at a showcase at our rink. And it was on a Saturday, and we were going to be there the entire day.
Right.
Right. From like 9 a.m. to like 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And I remember one of our dads literally put a flat screen TV in the back of his SUV.
Yeah.
And we set it up, and we were watching college football in between our kids' hockey games.
That's pretty awesome.
Out in the parking lot with like full on grill. I'm talking like there must have been 7 coolers.
Yeah.
Like Capri Suns and waters for the kids and drinks for the adults.
Right.
I mean, you name it, and like burgers and dogs and sausage and.
You know what?
It was ridiculous.
I remember
it was insane.
There was
the tailgates we used to have
during the spring, maybe
like absurd.
Last spring or the last couple springs.
Yeah.
That team, the 1494s.
Yeah.
That I think there was a family. I'm pretty sure that would have like an RV.
Oh, the Pennsylvania team,
and like they would just stay in the parking lot of the rink. Like that's where they set up their RV. That's where they slept. Like that was like
that's crazy.
They fucking made a real thing out of it. Like
no shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that a bunch in college football.
Yeah. Yeah.
For youth hockey.
Youth hockey.
That's crazy town.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. That's dedication, man. Shit.
I mean. If you got an RV, it saves $1 probably. You're not staying in the hotel.
I guess they sleep in that thing in the parking lot.
I mean, that's like if that's not stay to play, you're at the fucking rink.
How does that work? If you like, can you? Because you have a certain amount of kids stay in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine pulling up and be like, yeah, you're Mr. and Mrs. Smith aren't registered. You're like, but they're in the parking lot. They're like, yeah, but they're not staying in the hotel. You're like, yeah, but they're in the parking lot.
Right.
Like they're staying here.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, the whole state of play bullshit. Oh, I mean, I get why it's a thing. Anyway, but let's
we will get into that.
What, state of play?
Yes, we will get into that in one of these episodes too.
It's all fucking money grab.
Again, we're gonna do a rant section in every single episode.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be, remember that, because after this we're gonna write that down, because that's gonna be another one of our rant sections.
So what's today's rant?
So all right. So let's finish Howie's Hockey.
Okay.
So Howie's Hockey. So if you guys want to help support the show, we have a discount code from Howie's Hockey. It's crazy, CRAZY, the number 10.
Crazy 10.
Crazy 10 is our discount code through Howie's Hockey. If you guys are going to buy tape, scissors, Their gear is awesome. They have awesome sweatshirts.
Swag too. That's what
awesome
like hats. Yeah, I think we got. Hold on.
Yeah, we do. They have awesome hats. They have awesome t-shirts. There you go. They have awesome hats. They have awesome. The candles. The candles are tremendous. I mean, it's like.
Let's go, Howie's.
Yeah. I mean, the smell of their wax is ridiculous. And the fact that they had the forethought to make a candle out of it. I mean, is a money. Money move. What a money move.
If you're in the business of making
such a tremendous move. It's a phenomenal move.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so if you need gear, if you need tape, if you need tape bags, if you need, they have all different kinds of tape. I'm sure you've all seen it. They have, for kids, they have USA, Canada, they have camo. I mean, they have such cool stuff.
Dom ever use any of like the graphic tape?
He used the camo when he was like real young.
Yep.
And I think he used Team USA again, real young. You know what I mean?
I would say,
yeah.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Again, used it. When I say real young, I mean like 6, 7. I'm not a fan of it either.
I'm more of a purist when it comes to that stuff.
I like it. I like it for young kids. I like it for little kids. As they get older, I think kids get away from it. They just go with white or black.
Yeah.
Or like.
Yeah. Listen, it's fun for the young kids. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. I'm not hating on it. Just not never.
Yeah.
Never.
No, I'm with you.
It.
No, I'm with you on that. They have laces. They have wax laces. They have all different
laces too.
All different color laces, wax laces, regular laces.
Get laces.
They have
new laces.
They have. You could do it. You could do a. They have a box where you can make your own box tape.
So like a mix of like different.
You can get
like
clear. You can get white. You can get black. You can get USA. You can get Canada.
Right.
I mean, they have a bunch of cool things. So if you guys need any tape and you want to support the show, Crazy 10. It's only for our podcast for our listeners. So you guys want to support a really cool brand, Howie's Hockey.
Let's go, Howie's.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so Scott does not know what today's rant is about.
I'm in the dark.
Okay? This is something that drives me absolutely wild, and we'll do like a 5-minute rant segment on how ridiculous this stuff is.
Okay.
Today's rant is about the specific guy that everybody knows or everybody recognizes in the rink who stands there and constantly bangs on the glass. The glass banger.
The glass banger.
The glass banger.
Fucking glass banger. That should be a t-shirt, dude. Let's make that into a t-shirt.
We can. Glass
Hockey
banger.
Dad glass banger.
Dude, I got to tell you, I've seen some pretty bad glass bangers.
Yeah.
We were in Buffalo last year.
Yeah.
Scott, when I tell you that this one guy, he was doing it so much.
Yeah.
I actually thought something was wrong with him. Dude, I feel terrible saying that, but I was like, I looked at one of the dads. I'm like, he can't be right. Like, he can't be. I'm like, maybe he's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because no regular human being would be hitting the glass. First of all, the dude's
just
palm,
like hitting anything.
First of all, the dude's palm must have been like different shades of purple, blue, green. I mean, his palm must have been fucking like tenderized meat. Bro, I mean, Scott, I shit you not. I was standing there with the goalie's dad, and I'm going. I looked at him and I go,
"What the fuck?
I don't know what's happening here." I go, I can't stand here anymore.
No,
I can't,
dude.
I had to walk out. Yeah. I've never walked out of a rink for something like that. I walked out.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to fucking leave.
There are
the glass banger,
dude. So not a glass banger, but I was at Otto had a game last season, and one of the parents on the other team was so obnoxiously loud.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me when I tell you, it was fucking whatever you're thinking. Like, take it up at least one notch.
Yeah, is that right?
Like, what it turned out though, that this guy is actually like a cheerleading coach also, and someone tried to play that off as like an excuse for why this dad was so loud. But when I tell you, I would be so fucking embarrassed if I was a parent on that team that this father's would not shut the fuck up. And I don't know how the coachings even
don't say anything to him.
Don't tell him like,
he's that
bro,
bad.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But forget
the bleachers. Is that what he is?
In the bleachers. But forget like whatever the content of what he's saying is, even if it was highly appropriate and like very positive, it ruined I put in my earbuds.
You did.
I put in my earbuds and I started listening to Linkin Park.
At like a loud volume?
Just so I wouldn't fucking
just
hear
to
this
drown
guy.
him out?
Yes. It was fucking horrible. So, but what we're basically talking about is inappropriate behavior by adults acting like
and listen,
maybe children.
Listen, that what you're saying is in the exact same ballpark.
The guy was having a fucking tantrum to the point where I thought like he just wanted
something was
attention.
wrong with him.
No, something was wrong with him. That's not even a question. But it's like it was to the point where it's like, do you just want people to look at you? Like, are you vying for attention here? Like, what the fuck's wrung with you, dude?
Now, let me ask you a question.
Shut up.
Did any of the parents from the other team, were they all not standing by him?
He had like one, like...
Did he?
There was someone that was like...
His sidekick?
It wasn't like a Batman and Robin, but it was someone who was also quite vocal and like in his vicinity.
Oh, okay, so they were the same person.
Ish. Like it was almost it was almost like Dr. Loudmouth like gave permission for other people on his team to also
do the same thing.
Yeah, like monkey see, monkey do a little bit. Like it's like crazy, man.
Yeah, you don't want to be a glass banger, folks.
No, don't be that guy.
The glass banger
or gal.
the glass banger. Listen, I understand when somebody scores, like, and you're standing on the glass, and people go like, shh, like,
yes,
I get that,
yes.
But like. The dude I'm talking about, and obviously you're talking about a very similar dude, just with a different situation.
Yeah.
The dude I'm talking about, like, did not stop smacking on the glass. He just kept go. Scott, again, his hand must have been like tenderized meat.
But think about that. It's like one thing
I don't know why.
to like yell at a sporting event, right? Like that. But to physically hit something repeatedly,
Scott,
to the point where like you're calling this guy's.
I thought something was wrong with him, Scott.
But something must have been wrong with him.
But then he walked into like the lobby, and I'm listening to him speak to another human being like a regular person. So obviously he's not.
I don't know.
Retarded. I mean, like, I feel bad. It is. Well, you know what I mean. Listen, not being politically correct here. My point is there was something not right. Listen, because if there was something not right, you could be like, okay. You pass it off as you're like, okay, no worries. Yeah. But this dude was a sane guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, no, I don't know. It doesn't sound like he was at all.
But he acted like a sane person when he was talking to another dad in the lobby.
So he had... Oh, okay.
He was having me standing behind me, and I turned around. I'm like, oh, that's him.
Crazy people do normal things too, and normal people do crazy things.
That is true.
It sounds, so.
Fair point. But but this dude, my point was that this dude was a normal, well, like you said, a normal guy doing crazy things.
Or the opposite. In the lobby, he was doing normal things as a crazy person.
I could not believe the amount that he was hitting the glass.
Yeah, that's.
I walked out.
I think that's what I was. Ultimately, even if that's what you want, like you ruin it for people around you. Like you really do. And kids, families are there. And again, I'm not talking about being. It's okay to cheer. It's okay to cheer loudly. It's okay. But I think that there's a time, like during the course of a game, like your team scores, yeah, fucking, and you want to go wild, great. You know what I mean? But to continuously be a distraction for everyone around you when like it's not appropriate, like if it's not like, I don't know, a really bad call or a reason to celebrate, if you're just fucking going apeshit the whole time, like you ruin it for people around you, and it's fucked up.
I walked out.
It's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's fucked up that you ended up in a situation where that you felt like that was like the only way that you could like deal with the situation.
And it was the game before our game. It wasn't even our game. It was before our game. If I was a parent on that team and that father was on my team, I would have had a fucking meltdown.
Yeah. Well, you know what else I think?
A fucking meltdown.
I also think
total meltdown.
People like that do those things that are like super aggressive are also looking for a fight. I honestly think that people like that are doing it just to get someone underneath people's skin, so they open their mouth to them, and then they have a reason to fucking.
The parent group he was with were a bunch of loud mouths. You're not wrong. There were.
I'm sure they were looking for something
there
too.
There were a handful.
Or happy if someone were to say something.
There were a lot of them. He was the loudest with, my God, what he was doing, slapping the glass like Scott. It was like constant. It was like this.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. It was crazy. And I looked at our goalie's dad, and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this before. He's like, you haven't? I'm like, never. He's like, you sure? I'm like, I've never even come close.
This was last year?
Yeah. In Buffalo.
Interesting.
Scott, I'm like, I didn't even know what to say.
Listen, maybe he was super intoxicated.
I don't think so.
No?
I watched him walk out of the rink, and he was not bouncing all over the place. Yeah. I'm telling you. It was and it was like 8:30 in the morning, by the way.
Well, I mean,
maybe he was hammered from the night before.
Maybe,
very possible.
Maybe.
But this was like a regular dude that was just being like obnoxious. I wonder if he knew that he's obnoxious.
I think he probably loves that he's obnoxious.
Maybe. He looked like a knucklehead.
You can't always judge a book by its cover, but
yeah, I know you're right. So that's our hockey rant for today. Do not be a glass banger, people.
No glass bangers.
No glass bangers. So that's our hockey rant. We'll do that every episode. We'll do a rant section.
Great.
So next time you pick it, you pick the topic, and then we can go from there.
I will not tell you.
Yeah, don't tell me.
I won't.
Yeah, and we'll go back and forth. That
fucking
works.
Rant.
Yeah. I want to. So I know we talk about like
pushing.
Yes. And leading up to our pushing, I want to read you something. I found this. I was cleaning out my notes section of my phone this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. And I found something that I was dying about. All right. So this is
you were laughing about this, or you were like mortified, or somewhere in between.
That's actually a very good question. I wasn't mortified, but I was laughing. I was laughing. All right. So this is from January of 21.
Yep.
So Dominic was 8-ish, 9-ish, something like that. 8-ish, 9-ish, right? All right. Yep. So this is what I wrote. Ready? Things to work on. Okay. So things to work on. All right. I can't believe I wrote this. Shooting, stick handling, strength, lower and upper body, right? Catching passes, forehand and wrist strength, backward skating, right hand turns, and then this is where it gets funny. Going harder, in parentheses, not try to fix this one. Wait, and then below it, more aggressive, in parentheses, also not sure how to fix this one. That was from 4 years ago. I just happened to find it on my phone. I was dying, dude. I was dying.
I can completely relate to that.
Yeah. I was dying. So I thought that was funny. So yes.
Yeah.
So we talk about pushing our kids.
Yeah.
So do you want to take this one? Do you want to, or shall I start?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Let's do this kind of first. But in terms of like pushing kids, like I think it's worth not necessarily defining what it means to push, but like giving some context, right? I mean, because that's going to mean something different to different families or different people, right? So I think when we talk about pushing our kids, we are strongly encouraging them to do things that they don't necessarily want to do.
Yes.
Is that like a fair way of...
Yeah, I mean, I think kids, I can speak for my kid, and you tell me if yours is any different. My kid wants to be really good at something. He wants to be really good at hockey. But years ago...
Wait, hold on. Does he want to be in the NHL?
So, listen, if you ask him what he wants to do, he wants to be a first overall pick in the NHL.
Okay.
So listen, I'm like, what, bud? If that's your dream, go get it.
Yeah.
I'll take Division I hockey all day long.
Yeah,
I don't need him to play in the NHL.
Yeah,
if he gets into a school, a college, a university that he would not have gotten into on his own because of grades, and if he gets in there because of hockey, I will be absolutely thrilled.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it opens a door for him
Yep.
that would have been closed previously
otherwise
because of ice hockey, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
Then I've done my job as a parent.
Right. Well,
not that you know what I mean.
Up to that point in time, I guess.
You know what I mean. Then I've done good so far.
Yeah. Yeah. So the pushing part. So I think so again, Dom's first year bantam.
Yes.
Otto's first year peewee.
Right.
So still on the younger side.
Yes.
Otto more so, obviously. And at some point, and I think you're realizing this, that he's starting to push himself.
All of a sudden, he is starting to push himself, which is kind of cool.
So I think there's a few different ways to kind of go down, talk about this, and one of them would be the situations where you would push your kid, let's say, and we talked about this before, right? Like if you have a kid that shows no ability and no interest, do you push them? Probably not.
No, I
wouldn't
think so.
If you have a kid that shows no interest but has ability, do you push them?
Yes.
Yes. If you have a kid that has no ability but has interest, do you push them?
Yes.
If you have a kid that has ability and interest, sure. So there's like, let's say those are 4 different buckets. Yeah. Of the 4, you're probably going to push in 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
Right, for sure.
If you're of that mindset to push and get better at something and to actually,
Well, let's just talk from like a parental standpoint and like doing right by your kid. And we're talking about younger kids who don't know what they don't know and they don't have life experiences.
Well
right.
said.
So obviously pushing them outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Is something that I think is part of a parent's job up to a point. And
Agreed.
I think that's where the nuance and,
Agreed.
we've all heard horror stories and success stories of too much or, whatever. But so I think that like those are some ways to think about it also. And then when it comes to pushing, right, to what end are you pushing a kid? So like, what are the circumstances under which you're pushing? And then when you're pushing your kid, like what does that like really look like?
So that's a good question. I think that you could push too hard.
Okay.
Right.
Of course
pushing for me. Was always, so, all right. So listen,
let's give examples.
Okay. So for my child, okay. My child could sit on the couch, no problem.
Well, humans are like generally predisposed to be lazy.
Right. Okay. So, so when he came home from like a long day at school, he would be like, and I'd be like, Dom, let's go to a power skate. He'd be like, no, I don't want to go.
Right.
And he would give me a hard time. But when I took him, okay, and he would always say this even to this day, he would come out of it and he'd be like, Dad, that was kind of fun.
Right. Okay. So, but
it's not a push, but it's like a gentle, hey, let's go do this.
But what is that? So on any day of the week, that conversation is different. Let's like kind of dive into some of that like real nuance where it's like, hey Dom, and I can talk about or hey Otto, like it's hey today we're gonna go power skate. No, I'm no way. I'm not doing it. Not going.
I never got that.
No, you never got that.
Never got that.
You never got. I don't want to go.
I got that once when Dominic was 5. He was 5.5. It was a private early in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. And literally, I kid you not.
Well, it's 5 a.m.
Sorry, maybe it was like 6:30 in the morning. Or maybe he was 6 years old. Call it 6 years old and like
at 5:30 in the morning.
No, it wasn't that early. Call it 6 years old at 7 in the morning.
Okay.
And I remember he looked at me. I got him dressed in it, and he literally would not walk on the ice.
Yeah, refused.
He's like, no.
Well, I'm not talking about refusing to go on the ice.
It was literally once. And that was the one only.
So you're telling me that every other time you've said, Dom, you're going skating now. He's like, cool. Or not even cool.
No,
maybe it's not audible.
He's never given me a hard time. He's like, oh man, do we have to?
He says that, or he doesn't say that.
He doesn't. It hasn't happened in a while.
But he said like, okay, so that's But
yeah.
he's verbally communicated to you,
correct.
Like he would rather do something else,
of course,
at that point in time,
no question.
Oh, but ultimately, so now it's push time. So first and foremost, we have additional skating outside of practice. Right. So this is extra.
Yeah.
So whether or not the kid wants to go, that you're pushing your kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. No question about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's a gentle in this direction type thing.
Well,
I'm not saying you have to do this or else, that I won't say. And I've never had to because he never really gives me that hard of a time.
Right.
It's Dad. Oh man, we have to go to the skate. And I'm like, Dom, what's my skate? He's like, oh, it's boring.
It's boring. I love how kids use the word boring for like things they don't want to do. It doesn't even contextually make any sense.
Or they say, oh, it's stupid. You're like, what's stupid?
Stupid, right.
Stupid or boring is what you hear, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's stupid. It's boring. You're like, really? Is it stupid and boring?
Yeah. But no, but what I guess I'm trying to tease out a little bit more is the idea of like, okay, pushing your kid. So my question is the moment you start doing things outside of what you've signed up for. Okay. Like, so you're on a team now, you're going to go power skate. Yeah. Is the simple is just taking your kid to do something in addition to the like what they're signed up for, would you categorize that as pushing your kid? And
no,
it's not.
No, I wouldn't. No, listen, it's exercise for them. It's like, listen, I think kids should exercise every day, period, in a story.
Fair.
So this is a form of exercise, whether it's skating or whether you go, I don't know, run a mile, or you take them to D1 or like a whatever. It's some, or an exercise class, or it's some form of activity.
Right. But
kid's not sitting on the couch.
Okay. So for me though, I think if my son is not coming to me and saying, I want to do this,
right,
and I'm coming to him and saying, let's do that, or you're going to do, or do you want to do this or whatever? In my opinion, I think at that point you're starting to push your kid to do something that they're not actively thinking about doing. They may or may not want to do it in the moment, but I think once you start going beyond what's normally part of like the whatever you're signed up for, I think that's where pushing actually starts. And I'm not I'm not saying with a negative connotation.
No,
because the kid could every day could be like, yes, let's go.
Yep, I know what
but
you
if
mean.
it's not coming from them organically, and you're starting to push them.
I know what you mean.
Right?
Yes.
So
Dominic, I always signed. Dominic never came to me and said, not never. That's not true. But very rarely, when he was younger, did he come to me and say, "Let's go do a power skate. Let's go do a stick handling class. Let's go do a 3-on-3."
So you brought the idea to him.
No, I didn't bring it to him. I signed him up.
Well, that's bringing the idea
and
to
it's,
him.
Hey, bud, we have a stick handling class at 5:30 tonight.
I like how you say we.
Yeah, it's. I always say we. It's.
But it is a we thing. He's not getting there by himself.
Yes, but when I always say we, like we played hockey here, it's not obviously not me. It's obviously all him. I'm just the chauffeur and the planner.
Maybe I should show everyone you shooting pucks earlier.
You should, by the way. Listen, hockey is the one sport I never really played.
No, but okay, but you definitely we played.
In the driveway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but you're talking about organized.
Yeah, listen, I could shoot a hockey puck. Yeah. Like if you give me like a curved hockey stick that's my size, I could shoot. No, I can.
No, I know you can. I know. I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the pushing part.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree that
we'll throw that up on like Instagram or something like that and kind of get a laugh for everybody.
No doubt. We should do a shooting contest. Me and you.
Yeah, sure. You'll kick the shit out of me.
But then we can do a pickleball contest.
And I'll kick the shit out of you.
You'll kick the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's
true. Maybe we should do jiu-jitsu also.
I think I'll kick the shit out of you.
You think so?
Too. Yeah, because you don't know jiu-jitsu.
I don't know it.
Yeah, and I do.
You do.
Yeah, so
I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I know the word. I watched UFC, a lot of UFC.
You would still not do well.
I would not do well. No, probably not.
I've rolled with people that are much larger than me.
And you
matter.
fucking murdered them.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And which is this is kind of a sidebar for parents. In my opinion, have your kids box or do jiu-jitsu. They are two phenomenal things for your kids, like cardio and discipline. But the one thing about them is, and they also bring confidence to a kid.
Yeah,
they're tremendous things. And jiu-jitsu is something that your kids will learn because if they ever get into a scrape, most fights go to the ground. Like 90-something% of fights go to the ground.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, if your child knows jiu-jitsu or you know jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu is like, it's like when somebody goes to the ground and they don't know how to fight on the ground, it's like throwing somebody who doesn't know how to swim into
a pool. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's a great.
It's that uncomfortable.
Is that uncomfortable?
When you're on your back and somebody is like working you
on top. Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked. Now, and if you're like, if it goes to a street fight, in any kid, any of our children, right? I mean, and the kid's just doing jiu-jitsu, but then you bring striking into it. When if you're laying on your back and you don't know how to defend yourself, and somebody's just teeing off on you who knows jiu-jitsu and knows how to keep you, But so I think it's a good thing for kids to learn.
Yeah. All right. So getting back to the pushing part.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, I think I started it anyway. So pushing. Okay.
Well, pushing. I sent Dominic to jiu-jitsu too. So we're talking about pushing.
Yeah.
Dominic does jiu-jitsu Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and
3 days a week now. Really?
Maybe it's 2, but we during the hockey season we miss a ton.
No, I understand.
So
I get it.
So yeah.
I mean, I saw you there with Noah,
and he mentors there, so it's good for him. But again, that's the thing. Whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's a power skate, whether it's a stick handling class, whether it's an edge work class, he just wants to sit on the couch and hang out.
Right. So
I
pushing
push him.
Right. So pushing your kids. So now we're talking. So I think that's totally normal. Plenty of people do it. Like they're doing extra work, whatever the kids like to do. But parents end up pushing them to go, hey, here's a nudge. Let's go do this.
Right.
But then I think when it starts to get not dicey is not the right word, but where things can start to get complicated with younger kids is like when the kid, let's say, loves to play hockey, right? Is good at it, right? And good is relative, but as a parent, I want to push my kid
it a little bit,
to foster it, to get them out of their comfort zone. And let's say they give pushback, they don't want to do it, but it's more than just like it was more than just like I don't feel like it. Oh, come on, okay, fine, I'll go.
Right.
I think that this is when you start to get into these areas where you have parents that that can have pushed their kids too hard.
Sure.
And, if you're going to make your kid do things that they clearly don't want to do, maybe you're threatening consequences if your kid's not going to do that, right?
Yeah. I never had to do that.
But when you start getting into that
those
conversations.
Dominic never pushed back on me like that. It was always, he just wants to hang out at home instead.
Right.
You know what I mean? That it was the path of least resistance.
Right.
I never got, if I was getting pushback like that, like if my kid was throwing an absolute fit and just and he would come home miserable, then I would have had to rethink that.
Yeah. So here,
and maybe gone down another road, because you can't continue that.
You can't. It does.
I've never experienced that. That one time I experienced it when he was just blatantly like defiant and like, I'm not getting on the ice. I'm not doing this. It was a one-time thing when he was very, very young. Ever since, and he always comes out of stuff going, wow, that was fun.
Yeah. Or it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Correct.
I mean,
and he's glad he did it when he gets home.
That's like anyone. Like, just think about going to exercise when you don't want to. You always feel better when you're done exercising, right?
Listen, when you got here, Dominic was outside shooting. It's 100 degrees where we are today.
No doubt.
Right? Before you got here, he was telling me, he's like, Dad, I don't want to be out here.
Right.
But he knows it's good for him.
And
he pushes through it, which is awesome.
Right.
And I did not tell him to go shoot. That was all him on his own.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, so we've gotten to the point where I do not have to push.
Okay, now
he came to me last Friday. He's like, Dad, we haven't been on the ice enough.
Right.
I'm like, really? He's like, we have not been on the ice enough. He's like, what can you find me?
Right.
So I found a stick handling class that we went to on Saturday, and he and it's funny too, because I remember when he was the youngest and smallest kid in the class.
Yes. And
the big kids used to tool on him, and now he's the opposite.
Right.
Like he pulled they played like a 4-on-4 at the end, just kind of messing around.
Yeah.
And he Michigan 3 times.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Not gonna lie, but it's funny how things kind of come full circle.
Right. So as far as pushing though, something that I go through, and it's like that balance of I think this is something that a lot of people experience is striking that balance of pushing without. For Otto, a lot of times it's important that he's having fun.
Of course.
And I will tell you this.
Yes.
No, for him, that's working important. On his edges
is not fun.
Is not fun.
I get it.
Now,
I understand.
I have to push
it's
him
not fun.
harder.
Yeah.
And I
get that.
I will, a lot of times,
I get that.
He's happy to go do extra stuff.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, dude, you're going to power skating tonight, and he's not in the mood,
I don't want to go.
He'll be like, do I have to?
I understand that.
And up until there was a time when he was younger, I would say, yes, you have to. And then he got older, and now I not that I ever physically made him, but he's not I don't know if afraid's the right word, but if I raise my voice or if I whatever, he's past the point of me being able to use some of my old tricks to get him to go. So now it's if it's not fun for him.
Yeah, he knows what you're going to pull.
If it's not fun for him, he doesn't necessarily want. And then that's where it's okay, as a parent, here I am. I'm trying to push him to go do something that I know it might not be fun. And my wife says this all the time.
Right.
It might not be, you might not have fun going out there practicing your edges, but when you're the best skater on the ice, it's going to be a lot of fucking fun. right?
No question.
So like that's where like the parenting piece I think is really important to help their kids understand that. And I will, if he doesn't want to go, I am not going to push. I pick and choose my battles.
Okay.
Right. And so if he doesn't want to go power skating, then I'm like, okay, maybe let's find a stick handling class, or maybe let's find something else.
But he'll do something.
Yeah. And like week over week, he's doing something extra, but it's not always the things that I necessarily think he should do,
but he's doing something.
He's doing something.
Okay.
And at some point there's going to be a time, like every week he goes to a 7 a.m. like, skills, like semi-private class.
Right.
And he does that willingly. He does it.
He likes that.
He's happy to do it. He likes getting up early, but I think where it gets hard is just how hard do you push when your kid maybe doesn't want to do it. And you can, and I think that's where everyone has to find their own line with their own kid.
Right.
And
that's true.
My concern,
that's true.
Part of the reason why I've backed off on insisting that, like, listen, dude, it's super important. Like, I'll still tell him it's super important that you work on your edges,
right?
And like in power skate, and like if you want to keep, you want to play at a high level, like you say you do, then you got to do the things that people, right?
Yeah, no question. There's no easy way to get around it.
But
you have to work on your skating,
right? And he's done.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. So at this point, I don't push as hard as I maybe did, or I definitely did, like let's say 2 years ago, because I see him still doing things that are extra willingly, and he wants to, and he likes to play.
You know what? That's awesome, then.
But as much as I would like for him to be like, Dad, I really want to go work on my skating. That's honestly, that's just not so much fun for him, and he would rather be doing something else.
100% get that.
And I am not going to push him at this point to I'm not
to do something he doesn't want to do.
I tell him the consequences of his actions. Like, I explain it to him. Like, dude, listen, I understand you don't want to do that now.
No, that's fair. If you say, like, hey, listen, bud, like, I know you don't want to do it, but just so you know, like, it's going to come back. Listen, every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
So you not doing this, I mean, you're just not going to be as good of a skater. You're just not going to be. And I mean, it's just life.
And my concern that comes up for me, right, is that, like, if he's not going to do that, then he's like, over time, he's going to do less skating.
Yes.
He's going to be even less interested.
Yes.
And again, this is fear-based thinking. I'm not saying it's like feelings are not facts, but my concern is that over time, he's going to do a little bit, he's not going to want to do any of the hard stuff. And then it's going to be like, I'm not as interested in hockey anymore. So like that, like I have this like doomsday thinking.
And listen, and I understand that, because there's something to be said for doing hard things. Like today, Dominic did not want to be out there in 100-degree weather shooting.
Right.
He did not want to be. Right. And I get that. And I said to him, Dom, you're doing hard things. He goes, well, if we had to set up in the basement, it'd be easier when you're shooting it. It's cool down there. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But you know what? Like, when it's the third period, or you're in double overtime or triple overtime, and you need to find the extra, grit, to go do the hard things, to win a championship or whatever it is, or to win in whatever the situation is, you will have, I want to say prepared for it, but you will have kind of been there before and walked in those shoes.
Yes.
So it's already known that, so maybe it comes easier than it would if he, doing hard things is not fun.
No, it's like David Goggins. He talks about his cookie jar. And, and like, you gotta, no doubt.
Exactly.
One thing I want to touch on.
And it's a life skill, doing hard things.
No doubt. And
I don't want to work today. Did you?
No.
I don't want to work. I'm going on vacation tomorrow. The last thing I want to do is work today.
Yeah. No doubt.
But I had to. You have to.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do. And then when you're done with work, then you go do other things. And Dominic knows that when he's done doing his stuff, he can have at it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think part of the pushing piece is that when pushing's involved, even if the kid loves the game, the circumstances and like, the dynamic with like at home, or like getting in the car, or the car ride there, or the car ride back, if that is a negative experience repeatedly,
that's
even
not
if
good.
the kid likes playing the game,
that's
like,
not good. Though.
Holistically, hockey is no longer fun.
No.
And my concern is that if I am too pushy with him,
that's not
then
good.
It's not going to be fun, and he's not going to want to do it. And then so that's as a parent, I've definitely been more lax than I was in years past. I'm taking a little bit more of a cue from him,
right?
But at the same time, like I shared with you, like the kid gets up at 7 a.m, goes running by himself
awesome.
before he goes
great,
to school.
By the way. That's awesome.
So
good for him. Doing that. That's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But one thing I want to share,
that's really awesome.
Yeah, no, it's good. So there are signs, and so if I'm seeing signs that this kid, like that he's that he's showing willingness to do hard things on his own, then I feel less inclined to push harder. I don't know if that even makes too much sense.
No, it does. I will say when they get older, they
take ownership.
Yeah, and they're more willing to do those things without mom and dad having to tell them to go do them.
Yes,
it was a lot of years that I told him, Dom, make sure you go do your shooting and stick handling.
Right.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And now he does it himself. I don't even have to say anything to him.
Right.
He just does it.
Yeah.
It's part of his daily routine, which I think is great.
Yeah, it's about creating good habits.
Yes.
But one thing I wanted to mention, and we talked about this earlier, was the different scenarios where like your kid's good and your kid has ability and likes it, so you push. Your kid has ability and doesn't like it so much is something that I have with my daughter in swimming. And she's younger than Otto, so we're still talking about a young child.
Right.
But you put her in the water and she's like a little fish. And she as young as 4, she was on swim teams.
Right.
And as young as 4, she was coming in first place.
No,
and,
she was great. She still is. Yeah.
But she doesn't love to swim. It's crazy. So she has ability, but doesn't like it.
And she knows she's good at it.
She knows she's got like first place ribbons and second place and seventh place too. Seventh place ribbons.
Sure,
what a joke that is.
Yeah. No,
but my point is that as a parent,
shouldn't get anything after first place.
Exactly.
Oh, you are the first and second losers.
But what I wanted to share was that like as a parent, because she has ability, I am going to continue to push.
You should.
Her to be in the pool with even if she's not on a team, like maybe like I'll take her to the pool, or let's sign you up for a lesson. Maybe you like this one like lifeguard at the pool, like let's go do a swim lesson with her if she offers them, because I don't want ability that she has to go completely like out of sight, out of mind. I want her to at least be somewhat connected to the sport of swimming until she's, clearly beyond, I don't know what the right word is.
There's a reason why our children don't vote until they're 18. Kids are stupid. They don't know. You that's why children, that's why they're parents until they're, whatever age.
Yeah.
Because they need guidance.
Yeah.
If I listened to every time my kid said no to something, like my kid would
be doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But
what good would that have been?
So what about a parent that
what would that have done for him?
What about a parent who has a kid that likes the game, has ability, and then just like overindulges their kid with like countless hours of like before school, after school, weekend. Like we know parents that like drive.
Yes.
Like I mean, you had kids on like the team that were driving from like. We're hours away,
almost 3 hours away.
But like,
no,
there are
2.5. There are 2 people coming from like 2:45, 2.5 hours.
But you have a kid that likes it and has ability, but then you're pushing them to no end to do more and more and more. Like I really wonder. I know I'm cutting you off, and I'm sorry.
No.
But the idea of burnout, right? Like
I'm sure it's very real.
I know it's real.
Yeah.
I know it's real. Yeah. But it's like you also when you hear stories, they're usually the success stories. You don't go to YouTube and watch all the burnout stories. So what's advertised and what's like put in front of your eyes is all the success stories. And then
that's what social media is.
No, yes.
Not many people are going to.
It's all the highlights, and not the lowlights.
Because nobody wants to watch it.
Although fails are funny to watch.
Sometimes. Depending on what they are.
Well, sometimes they're very hard to watch.
Especially their gym fails. Those are so funny. The gym fail videos.
No doubt.
Oh my god.
But I mean, like I part of me, like you have to take sometimes like a leap of faith that like less might be more, and I guess I just don't know.
Listen, I think there's a point of when you cross a line. I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
You know what that line is. I don't. It's probably different for everybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it's also how much your kid can tolerate. You know, if your kid keeps asking for more, you know, you as the parent have to then rein them in a little bit. You know, I don't think you should just keep going. There's a happy medium somewhere. And I think each situation is probably different.
Right.
Right? Like those kids that are getting in the car and driving 2.5 hours, they don't mind it, which is wild.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they not mind it?
I don't think they do.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't do it, so I can't speak to it, you know, but knowing those two kids, unless they were telling their dad something different that I didn't know about.
Right.
You know, listen, I'm sure there's kids that drive 2.5 hours with the kids just like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
I mean,
I'm sure, but for the ones that I know, I don't think that was the case.
And you don't think, look, dude,
unless they were putting on a really happy face, but they're both very happy kids. I didn't notice that.
I don't know. You hear about families that like fly from other states. You had that from Florida up here.
We had a kid from Florida on our team. Yeah.
We had to see, I came
flew up
across
every weekend.
A family
Every weekend
that flew up to play for a team out of Long Island.
Shit's crazy. I wouldn't do it.
No, I know.
I wouldn't get on a plane every weekend and fly my kid up. So, you know, that to me, you know, I don't.
But is that not the parent just like living vicariously through their kid?
You know, the parent that I knew that did it would come up here. The hockey in Florida was different than it is here.
Yeah.
So their situation, I think, was a little different than this. Listen, and I give him a lot of credit because he had the balls to get his kid on a plane every weekend and fly up here. Like it's like flying for business every week. Like, you know, like.
But at what cost?
Listen, I'm sure it wasn't cheap.
No, I'm not even talking about the financial cost.
Well, listen, his kid's a good hockey player, and he plays on a good team, number 3 in the country for the 12th birth year. You know, I mean, the kid's good, and the dad's a great dude. I spoke to him like 3 weeks ago. Dad's a great dude, and he does it. But listen, I'm sure some people are doing it for their kid, and the kid's not into it. I'm sure that's also a thing. I have not run into that, but I can guarantee it's out there. I guarantee there's a shitload of them out there that we're just not seeing.
And yes, no doubt. And I think those extreme examples, I think it's easy to kind of like just brush off to the side as just being like over the top and like so far down the spectrum. But I think more people in more places, more times are faced with like, I want my kid to have like a somewhat of a balanced, like you want them to have interest in other things. I want them to have a social life.
Of course.
You know, and if it's just hockey all day, every day, or sports all day, every day,
I don't think
supplementing this.
Yeah, no, I think you need kids to be kids, and kids need to go have a social life.
Like my concern is like is the kid might not be showing signs of burnout now.
But he may in a couple of years.
And that's like the risk, right? And
listen,
you don't know.
That's when they shut
time
down.
will tell.
No, you don't know. You do what you think is right for your child, and hopefully it winds up working out. But you should be aware.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
You should be self-aware of what you're doing and really, I think, take notice of what you are doing and whether it's a good or a bad. I would review what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just, you know, be honest with yourself. Is it good or bad?
Right.
Right.
Good or bad's like a hard, like I understand what you're saying.
I don't know another way to say it.
Yeah, no, fair.
I'm using good or bad because I can't come up with
excessive
a better term.
or
correct.
Too excessive, extreme, too extreme.
Correct. Yes, thank you. Those are better words than mine. You know, so but you have to be honest with yourself. If you're not being honest, then don't do the exercise. But if you're being honest with yourself,
yeah.
You know, again, you know, college scouts and coaches, they want kids that are multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to not go to a stick handling class and go to a strength and conditioning or like a speed and agility. That's okay.
Of course.
You know, I think that's it's a good substitute. It doesn't always have to be ice related.
Where do you put yourself? And I'll answer this question. I feel right now, personally, I feel like I'm not pushing hard enough.
So I really don't have to push anymore. Again, I don't have to.
You graduated.
Dominic has reached a point where I don't have to say anything. He, you know, I schedule things for him. He goes and does not say boo.
Right.
he goes to speed and agility. He goes to jiu-jitsu. He goes to his skates. He goes to his stuff, and he has no problem doing it. So, to those parents out there, I would say, just review what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And be honest with yourself as to how much or how little you're doing. Right.
Yeah. It's a hard thing.
It is a hard thing.
It's a hard thing.
I don't think there's a right answer. Every situation is different.
No, there is not.
But but I will tell you this: when your kid gets older, if you've done it the right way, they will take over.
They will. I think that's an interesting. Like if your kid at some point, and again, if your kid doesn't at some point take it over themselves,
then maybe it's not meant to be.
Then maybe it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
I think
that will show itself.
Right. Yeah. And that comes at different ages, which also makes it more difficult. But it's probably reasonable to say that at least until, I don't know what Dalton is 13 now?
Just turned 13, yeah.
13,
month,
14, 15, like in that zone.
I think so.
If they're not taking complete ownership and you're still having to push.
Maybe it's
time just to.
Yeah.
Not pack it in, but
maybe reevaluate.
Reassess.
Yes,
reassess.
Yeah, I think you'll know at that point in time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because then you're in high school and you'll start to see stuff. I think you'll know. Like juniors, a lot of kids will be playing juniors at that point, or they'll be getting drafted into juniors. So I think it'll be very apparent at that age, if we're talking to hockey players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody. You want to talk a little NHL? Do we have time to talk some NHL?
I mean, I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I do too.
Fuck.
I mean, this is our first episode since the Stanley Cup Finals is finished.
Wow.
I think our last one was the day before or 2 days before the Game 6, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But my goodness gracious.
The better team clearly won. Like outclassed them to no end.
It almost surprises me that last year went to 7 games, because this year, I know it went to 6 games, but don't forget, like, Edmonton won to overtime.
Yep.
Florida was up 3-0 in one game.
Yeah.
That they came back and won. I think also in overtime in Florida, right? The difference between these two teams, I thought they were a lot more even.
Yeah.
They're not even close.
Yeah. Not even close. When you have Marchand as like your third line, I mean, like you listen to other like pundits and like other podcasts and like you hear the stats and this and that, but the depth, it's
just not there.
Florida has
Edmonton doesn't have it.
Normal.
And I don't know I don't know how many points McDavid and Draisaitl finished for the finals, but I did not think either one of them had an impressive final. Did you?
No, I don't think anyone really did.
Other than a bunch of Florida Panthers.
No, yeah, but I was talking about Edmonton. I mean,
Edmonton.
I think the Spit and Chicklets talked about like when Ekholm rejoined the fray. That was like not that, or was it Elliot Friedman? I was listening to someone talking about. I think it was Friedman actually on 32 Thoughts was just talking about when Ekholm rejoined the mix. Right, like he wasn't his normal self, and not that Ekholm.
He was hurt, and Hyman being out didn't help them.
Nugent Hopkins apparently had a broken hand.
He was not healthy.
Like that.
He was not healthy.
You see Barkov's hand?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. But you know what? At that point in the season, nobody's healthy.
Right.
Like if you listen to Matthew Tkachuk's dad.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk's dad's like, he probably shouldn't even been skating.
Right.
Like I think he had like something was separated from the bone, like the muscle was separate from the bone.
Right.
Like his dad's like, he shouldn't be on the ice.
Right. But so
everybody had injuries.
So everyone had injuries at that point, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
it's probably all par for the course.
It's like a wash. You think at the end of the day?
I do. But listen, the depth. Even if Hyman was there, the depth
of Florida,
depth that they have. I mean, my God.
Right.
I mean, if you saw, Draisaitl and McDavid were going out every other shift in those last couple games.
Crazy. What about Evander Kane at the end?
They're going to trade him, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not going to be on the Edmonton Oilers next year. He's a fucking head case.
Listen, he's dead. Like, there's no doubt.
He's a good player, but he's a fucking head case.
Listen, what he did with Tkachuk at the end was so unsportsmanlike.
He is not going to be on that team next year.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's not on San Jose anymore.
I don't know all the backstory, but clearly that there's stuff on the ice, off the ice.
He took some stupid penalties.
He took himself out of the series.
no question about it. Did
No.
he ever?
But you know, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
That was crazy.
Did you think that? Did you notice how when Bennett took the Conn Smythe, he just kind of put it on the bench.
Down.
He's like, yes,
Yeah.
we had no interest in it.
Yeah.
That team is a real team.
Through and through.
Like they're not just like two superstars, bunch of guys. They're a legit team.
Yeah, they're band of brothers.
Yeah, like Seth Jones and Marchand, I think melded perfectly into that group.
What pickups at the end? Like Jesus,
Dude.
Everyone was writing Seth Jones off too. Like
in Chicago. Oh my God, the guy was a stud in the playoffs. Marchand almost won the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, wild.
Do you think that Marchand resigns?
I think so.
Did you see?
I think it's hard. Like it's hard. It's got to be so hard not to. Like if you're Marchand, like like when Spit and Chicklets talks about like contracts and they're like, I don't, it's only $9 million, only $10 million. I'm like, I don't know. I don't make that kind of money, but that seems like a lot of money to leave. I can understand why someone would leave for an extra $9 million. Like maybe I'm just being like foolish
over a contract.
I mean, I can understand why someone would. That said, I would not want to be on. If I'm on the Panthers, I don't want to be on a different team.
Well, did you hear what Bennett said? Bennett was he was in like a club somewhere in like downtown Florida.
Yeah.
And you've seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
So you've seen where the book was tremendous, by the way. I read the book before the movie even came out. But in the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio is on a microphone and he's addressing all of his employees in front of him. And the SEC was basically barring him from the industry.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not fucking leaving. So Bennett got on a microphone in some club and he's like, I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, listen, if that's the case, I mean, shit. And I can't imagine Marchand's leaving either.
You literally, if you're on that team, like you're the most, you're modern, you're a dynasty.
Can you imagine if they bring everybody back and then go again?
Here, how about this? Ready? Next year's 2026 Stanley Cup Finals.
Okay.
Florida versus Edmonton.
Stop.
Yes or no?
No.
No.
I don't think Edmonton goes again. I think Edmonton is going to listen, unless they get a goalie, dude.
Yeah, but
their goaltending is shit.
Okay, but let's not forget that save for the beginning of the LA series, they pretty much mowed down the West.
Okay, fair. All right. I mean, listen, I don't know who's going to beat them. I do not think they make back to the Stanley Cup Finals. I do not. Listen, you don't know if McDavid and Draisaitl are going to be healthy. One of them goes down.
Yeah, but
one
you
of them
could
goes
say
down.
that about Florida too.
Well, we're talking about, do I think Edmonton's going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals? I do not. And if they do, I feel bad.
Same thing's going to happen again.
Because they're not going to beat them. They're not. You're just not. They're just they.
So again, do you think anyone in the West could? Is there? Forget the West. In the East too. Is there anyone that's primed to beat Florida next year? Obviously, the trade.
We're talking East or West. We're talking either one.
Either one. I mean, they were down 2-0 to Toronto, and they came back. No more Marner.
Yeah, Marner's not going to be in Toronto next year.
No, he's going to go to the West. That's what he said he wanted.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, apparently it seems like LA and Vegas are like...
Dude, Vegas should grab him in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah, I think those are the headlines that I read.
Take a state tax-free friendly deal.
But that's part of the fucking
cap space.
Look at the teams that are fucking like Tampa Bay, Florida,
Lightning,
Dallas, Vegas.
There's a reason why those teams are good.
Yeah.
Again, you're giving a guy, Barkov makes $10 million, Kachuk makes $10 million. Let's just say Bennett on his UFA year is going to make $10 million.
Right.
They're getting paid like a $12 million a year guy.
Right.
Because they're not paying state tax in the state that they're playing.
And then the team has the other money to spend on depth players.
$6 million left over to go put toward your third and fourth line.
It's an unfair advantage.
It's huge.
It's an unfair advantage.
Which is why, what's his name, didn't want to answer it when Bisson had asked him.
Oh, Bettman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not want to because he knows that it's a clear advantage.
It's a clear advantage.
It just is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah.
You have more money to put toward anywhere else because you just have an advantage. You have more money to spend, period, end of story. Like you said, there's a reason why those teams are winning Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
They have an advantage.
And
then the NHL will not fix that. There's no way to fix that because you have a hard salary cap.
Yeah.
So everybody has to spend the same amount of money.
Right.
but some teams have an advantage because they will have more money left over because
No
of the
doubt.
state tax.
No doubt.
Right. So you can give capper-friendly deals, but they're still making the similar money to guys in places like Boston or places like New Jersey or New York City.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, but you think Edmonton and Florida next year, Stanley Cup Finals?
I don't know that I think that. But I kind of think that.
Florida clearly is the...
Assuming everyone stays healthy.
Right.
Healthy enough.
If they bring back... bring back Marchand, like I think they're going to.
Yeah.
Because that...
What about Ekblad?
Ekblad, too, I think is going to stay.
Yeah.
I think all those guys stay. I think they will be back in the finals.
Against Edmonton?
No.
Who do you predict? Just do it now for shits and giggles. So a year from now we can reference this and be like, huh.
So I want to say I think Dallas will be involved.
In the finals?
Yeah. Or the Avalanche.
Okay.
I don't know which one. I don't know what they're going to do in free agency. It depends what happens.
Zegras to Philadelphia.
You knew he was not going to be on. He has not been playing well the last couple of years.
He's also been injured.
Yeah, but he's not been doing well. Like I'm not shocked at all that they moved on from him.
But they picked up Kreider.
Yeah, and Trouba last year. You know,
listen,
they have a good. What's his name?
You'd rather have Kreider over Zegras, a healthy Zegras?
Listen, I have not looked at Kreider's numbers recently, but I bet you Kreider's numbers and Zegras' numbers, even when Zegras played a full 82, is very similar.
Yeah, but his first full 82 was like just past COVID, no? He hasn't been in the league very long.
Zegras, I don't know what
happened.
Like
4 years tops in the league?
I do not know what happened to Trevor Zegras, but he has not been the same player.
He was also injured. I'm not saying that's the only reason.
I need to look this up, but I would say that Chris Kreider's numbers are very similar to Zegras' numbers.
Yeah, all I'm saying though is that there's a big age gap.
I think they're both like, no question about it, but I think they're both like 50-ish point guys.
But if you were like trying to rebuild.
Well, listen, if Philly's trying to get younger, I mean, Jesus.
You got Michikov. But Zegras was on. He was with like Leo Carlson. He was with
there's a lot of young dudes there.
Cutter Gauthier.
Cutter Gauthier is a hell of a player.
McTavish
is there. Yep. Mason McTavish. Not Max. Mason. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mason McTavish. No, they have. I heard they're trying to trade Troy Terry.
Huh.
Again,
we'll see what happens.
They have a good. They need a younger goalie. You know, Gibson's not young.
Right.
You know, but listen. So I guess it depends on what happens with free agency.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. So tell me now, who do you predict in the finals next year?
So I have to pick.
You have to pick. I have to pick. The gun is to your head.
All right, I'm going to say Dallas, and I'm going to say Florida.
And who's going to win?
Florida.
They're
going to three-peat.
How about this one?
Gun to my head. That's where I'm going.
McDavid loses for the third year in a row.
In the finals.
He's
Florida.
He's gonna sign.
Not with Edmonton after that.
He's gonna sign a short-term contract.
This year.
An extension.
You think he's gonna sign a 1-year extension?
I don't know about 1 year. It's gonna be short. I don't think he's gonna lock it in for life.
He's stupid if he does.
Yeah,
unless he loves the city of Edmonton that much.
He is not going to. That's what I would guess.
I don't know
because he said everything is about winning.
I don't know this for a fact, but if he's not ripping pissed, then listen. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't give a shit about. All this dude wants to do is win.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, he's not going to win in Edmonton. He's just not.
Because of Florida?
No. Partially because of Florida. But I also think that in a salary capped game, where you're gonna have, I mean, if what the Spit and Chicklets guys is true, let's just say that they pay him $17 million, right? I was saying 15 because it's got to be more than Draisaitl. So I was throwing 15 out there. They're talking like 17, 18, which I was not throwing out. So let's just say 17. So he's making 17. Draisaitl's making 14. Bouchard is a free agent. You're going to have to pay him at least 10.
I don't know about that.
So you're going to have $52-3-ish million of your salary cap in 3 dudes.
And Darnell's on like a 9 and change AAV.
So there you go. So he's just about 10 million. So you're talking 4 guys. There's your. Didn't Biz say something about core 4? Was that his core 4?
Nurse, Bouchard, McDavid, and Draisaitl.
Was that his core 4 that he mentioned? Was that them? So you're talking $62-ish million in 4 guys?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I don't think Nurse is. Listen, if you're talking like. In my opinion, I don't think you can win in today's NHL with having that much of your cap wrapped up in a handful of people.
Players.
I don't think you can do it.
Yeah.
I just don't. And which is why I think Florida has such an advantage because they don't need to pay anybody $14 million or $12 million. They don't need to do it.
Right.
And I think some of these guys take, I don't want to say hometown discounts, but I don't think that you can win. That's why I don't think Edmonton's ever going to win. Because if you're spending all that money, plus where are you getting a goalie from? Who are you going to get?
I don't know.
Right? Show me where you're going to get a goaltender.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I just don't. The Devils tried to get a goalie for years, and they got an older Jacob Markstrom. Right. If Markstrom was on Edmonton, do you think they win a Stanley Cup?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
I don't think so either. So, so that's my point. Unless you put...
If you put Hellebuck...
I was just going to say, if you put Hellebuck or Ottinger in net, I still don't think they win a Stanley Cup.
I also agree with that.
So I think Edmonton, which is why I don't think that Connor McDavid is going to stay with the Oilers.
Yeah.
But the problem is he has to go someplace, and he's going to demand big money, right? Somebody will take him.
Florida.
Listen, I don't think so.
No, I know.
And maybe like a rebuilding Tampa.
I don't know.
Right? It's going to be interesting, though, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the Stanley Cup Finals was awesome. And all the stuff on Instagram about the Florida Panthers is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fantastic with like Marchand serving Dairy Queen,
totally.
Reinhardt. Was it Reinhardt or Bennett? One of them was serving Raising Cane, the chicken place.
Really?
Have you had that, by the way?
No. It's that good?
It's pretty good.
It's fucking chicken.
Yeah, but it's pretty good.
Okay.
There's one around the Philly area.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's not any.
I'll take your word for it. I was around to it. I was near one.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but I didn't go.
There's none around here. There's definitely none around here.
All right. Well.
Yeah. So there you go, dude.
That's it.
This was fun, man.
Good episode.
Yeah. So next one is our number 16 is going to be our 4th of July edition.
Fireworks.
Looking forward to that. I'm going to be doing that remotely from wherever I am. So that's going to be fun.
Great.
So looking forward to that. Thank you everybody for listening and downloading. We really appreciate it.
Use the Howie's Crazy 10.
Just going to say that. Go use the Crazy 10 at Howie's Hockey. They have a lot of really good stuff. Really cool website. Awesome customer service. Like I've been using them since Dom was 6.
Yeah.
I've been buying stuff from Howie's.
No doubt.
Awesome. Again, one of my favorite logos in all of youth hockey. So this was fun, bud.
All right, dude.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Peace.
See ya.